Awesome. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining the webinar, the Snapbrillia webinar on how to eliminate systematic bias in hiring of 2023 and beyond. I want to really introduce my amazing guest from Pinion Search, Jennifer Van Riet, a friend, sourcing, talent intelligence leader, as well as Claire Lockie, who are building something really, really amazing. They'll tell you about it very shortly, but a little bit about us. We're building a flexible hiring and sourcing as a service solution where we love to partner with underrepresented professionals and founders to build economic reputation and trust to enable more global hiring. And Claire, welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for being
Thanks
with
very
us
much.
today. Can you tell us a little bit
I
about
think
Pinion?
with pleasure, absolutely. So we're a South African founded company, talent search and acquisition specialists, and we kind of serve the fast-growing enterprises, mostly in the technology space on the African continent and also internationally. And probably what one would have referred to as a headhunting agency many years ago, but it's effectively executive search at this point. And we assist a lot of technology boards and investors in the kind of critical task of finding the right leadership for their teams. So we consider ourselves fixers, and our strapline is solve for people ultimately. Um, Client bases range from Series A funding round companies through to investment consultants looking at media investments to even international private family offices. And we've invested heavily in search tech, actually through a lot of consultation and work with Jennifer, which helps us kind of get a lot of accuracy around identifying the right types of candidates in as short a period of time as possible. And yeah, we're looking to expand this business internationally in the next few years. There's never a dull moment. It's without exception, very challenging, and always realizes a very positive sense of achievement when we place a wide range of very different but remarkably well-suited people in companies that make a difference.
Wow, what an awesome resource to partner with. Uh, if I'm looking for global executives, I will for sure reach out to Pinion Search, one of the two
We,
of
we,
you.
we typically get reached out to when things run really wrong and they're really
Right.
fix it to be.
I'd be
So I'm
very
going to
lucky
take the
to know that you guys are at this time accepting new patients, as they say. Um, awesome, Jennifer. Um, Thank you for being with us. You have decades of experience in research, and you've been in the diversity, equity, and inclusion space as a leader and in recruiting for some time. Yeah, popcorn to you. Take it away.
Thank you, Neen. And thank you, Claire, for that kind introduction, and to Neen for conceiving this moonshot that we are sharing in here today. Welcome, everybody, and thank you for attending my webinar. Did you know that in 2022, studies proved that job candidates with African-American sounding names, were 50% less likely to be called back for an interview than those with more traditionally sounding Caucasian names? This means that talented, qualified individuals were being overlooked simply because of their names and the implicit biases of the hiring managers reviewing their resumes. Furthermore, a 2020 study by the Human Rights Campaign found that LGBTQ plus job candidates are less likely to be hired than their non-LGBTQ counterparts, even when they have the same qualifications and experience. Likewise, transgender job applicants face particularly high rates of discrimination, with a staggering 30% reporting that they were fired, denied a promotion, or not hired due to their gender identity. Additionally, according to the National Employment Law Project, an estimated 70 million people in the USA have criminal records, and many face a significant employment barrier due to systematic bias. Research shows empirically that job applicants with criminal records are much less likely to be hired regardless of their qualifications. These are just a few examples of how systematic bias can creep into the hiring process and impact people's lives. Today, we're going to talk about how to mitigate this bias and create a more equitable hiring process for all. As a side note, I will accept that all attendees have read my research document or will do so tonight. I know it's on the heavy side, but this forms the basis of these webinars. And this webinar will cover 4 subjects. 1, the understanding of systematic bias in hiring. 2, strategies for mitigating systematic bias. 3, the role of artificial intelligence in mitigating bias. And 4, the future of fair and inclusive hiring. We will also have a question and answer session right after the presentation. Let me tell you something. We are all biased. This starts when we are babies and we are directly influenced by our surroundings and the people around us, and it continues into adulthood. Our minds believe that these biases keep us safe, and while true under circumstances, this unconscious need for perceived safety can also impede us in the milieu of the working future. So, a group of people thrown together by circumstance or tradition want to become safe and secure in an environment where economies can thrive. And in order to be this society that is safe and has food, water, shelter against the seasons, social constructs begin to emerge over time. And as time passes, these biases become so ingrained that they are not questioned anymore. That which is out of the norm is rejected, often because it is subject to bias or one of its more unsavory cousins, discrimination or racism. Because of their survival instincts, people kick against that which is different, and everyone has one bias that can lead to cognitive dissidence. The place you reach mentally where you say, I cannot believe that. I cannot eat that. I cannot do that. I cannot. Systematic bias, also known as structural bias or institutional bias, refer to the ways in which societal structures and institutions, such as hiring practices, for instance, cultural assessments, may perpetuate bias against certain groups of people. Systematic bias can be subtle and difficult to recognize, but its effects can be far-reaching and quite damaging. In the hiring process, systematic bias can take many forms. For example, hiring managers may have unconscious bias that influence their decisions, such as assuming that women are less qualified for certain roles or that older workers are less capable than younger ones. Confirmation bias can also come into play, where hiring managers seek out information that confirms their pre-existing bias and overlooks the information that challenges them. Finally, affinity bias can lead to managers preferring candidates who share their background or characteristics, such as attending the same university, having similar hobbies, or sounding the same. The consequence of systematic bias can be significant. In fact, bias can lead to a lack of diversity in the workplace, with certain groups being underrepresented or excluded altogether. This can result in a homogeneous workforce with limited perceptions and ideas, leading to missed opportunities for innovation and growth. Additionally, when biases are based on protected characteristics like race or gender or age, they can lead to legal liabilities for the organizations. Bias can take many forms, such as implicit bias, prejudice, outright discrimination, and by being aware of the ways in which systematic bias can affect hiring decisions, organizations can take these steps to mitigate and create a more equitable hiring process. Of course, implementing training programs for hiring managers would be helpful, Moreover, ensuring that blind hiring techniques are implemented and diverse hiring committees are in place will make for more inclusive hiring decisions. It's essential to recognize that diverse individuals have unique skills and experiences that bring value to organizations. By eliminating the systematic bias in the hiring process, organizations can create more diverse and inclusive workspaces, and help promote more significant equity and opportunity for all employees. Besides being underrepresented to the new global audience of today, it is just a fact that when you all went to the same schools, had the same education curriculum, started in the same companies, and worked your way through the ranks together to build management teams, you have success. Yes, but it's more likely that at some point you will run into trouble. Why? Very successful organizations know this. Diversity covers blind spots. The more diverse your organization is, the better prepared you are for whatever happens, as you will have many eyes surveilling the landscape, identifying risks, planning accordingly, and acting timeously. So let's talk shop. Strategic mitigation of systematic bias in the hiring milieu of 2023 and beyond in 10 steps. 1. Prioritize building diverse pipelines for candidates for open positions. Makes sense, doesn't it? 2. Partner with diverse organizations such as community groups, schools, professional organizations, and social media to reach a wider pool of candidates from diverse backgrounds. As an organization, be involved in charitable work, walking dogs, building houses, or making food for others. Talent acquisition can post job openings on job boards specifically targeting diverse candidates, such as those focused on women who want to return to the workspace, or minorities, or LGBTQ plus individuals. Organizational representatives should attend job fairs and career days to meet candidates, specifically from diverse backgrounds, and build relationships with diverse organizations. Use language in your job postings that appeal to a broad range of candidates, including those from underrepresented backgrounds. For example, using gender-neutral language, highlighting diversity and inclusion initiatives, and emphasizing your organization's commitment to equity and fairness publicly is a very good step to take. Employee referral programs are a powerful method of tapping into your employee network. It can be an effective way to build a diverse pipeline of candidates. Encourage your employees to refer candidates from underrepresented backgrounds and provide training and support to help your employees make those effective referrals. Avoid biased terminology at all costs. Review your job descriptions, your requirements, and other materials to ensure that they are free of biased language or requirements that could deter certain candidates from applying. It would be ideal to move away from gender-specific language such as he or she, and instead use neutral language such as they or the successful candidate. Focus on the essential requirements for the role rather than adding the unnecessary fluff that may deter otherwise qualified candidates from applying. For example, requiring a specific degree or certification may exclude your otherwise qualified candidates from applying. To reduce the impact of your unconscious bias in the screening process, organizations can use blind screening techniques such as removing identifying information from resumes or using software to scan resumes for relevant keywords. Seek input from diverse stakeholders such as employee resource groups or outside consultants to review job descriptions and other materials like your employer branding for the potential buyers. This can help identify the blind spots and ensure that the organization is taking a comprehensive approach. It's extremely important that anyone who works with candidates are trained on diversity and inclusion to ensure that they can effectively communicate and mitigate this impact of unconscious bias. Using blind assessment techniques is when your panel has an identical set of numerically graded questions. These grades are anonymously collected at the end of your interview, and the highest marks are your top applicants. To illustrate these 9 concepts in action would be that an application is followed by an AI build of the CV to your company specifications with permission of the individual to source databases like Google or LinkedIn. The individual does an unbiased AI design assessment on skill and psychometrics, and all of this lands in front of the internal recruiter, who blindly, therefore, with anonymous information and based on the standardized entry requirements, goes ahead with the recruitment process. Last but not least, regularly evaluate your progress. All teams involved in hiring, including talent acquisition, recruitment, executive search, and HR, should establish clear goals and metrics for success. Frequently assess progress against these metrics and use AI technology to collect and analyze the data. Initiating this will facilitate organizations in identifying improvement and making data-driven decisions about where to focus their efforts. Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. Have no fear for atomic energy, 'cause none of them can stop the time. The song, Redemption Song by Bob Marley, is a long-time favorite of mine and is quite poignant when discussing artificial intelligence's role in the workplace. I discussed the value of AI in the workplace in more depth in a blog series on our opinionsearch.com website, should you wish to know more. Michelle Kaczynski, Associate Professor of Organizational Behavior at Stanford University, put several versions of OpenAI's recently released ChatGPT through theory of mind tasks designed to test a child's ability to impute unobservable mental states in others. In humans, this would involve looking at a scenario involving another person understanding what's happening inside their head. The November 2022 version of ChatGPT, trained on GPT 3.5, solved 94% or 17 of 20 of Kaczynski's bespoke TOM tasks, putting the model on par with the performance of a 9-year-old child, an ability that may have spontaneously emerged by virtue of the model's improving language skills, Kaczynski says. So, is it all based on probability theory? To get a little bit technical, and Neen, you might want to add to this later, my answer to that would be, isn't good research based on probability theory too? In fact, doesn't the world run on probabilities? Translated to human behavior, don't we always make choices consciously or unconsciously? Can I buy the chocolate? Do I want the chocolate? I have the chocolate. Shall I eat it now or shall I eat it later? So in this search query of Kaczynski's paper, it used the query, the best thing about AI is its ability to. It does not examine the textual text, but it searches for phrases that match in meaning. And then the ultimate result is a ranked list of words together with its probabilities. I wanted to share this with you because I thought it was so interesting. So, how do we effectively start using AI to identify diverse candidates? First, we change our company algorithms. How do we do that? We constantly look at diversity web pages. We look at diversity speakers. We surround ourselves with diversity. We understand diversity and how beneficial it is to us. Then we ask AI to collect and analyze data on hiring practices and outcomes. After that, we request a generated report back into the diversity matrix in real time, which makes reporting and planning much easier, doesn't it? By tracking data such as the demographics of job applicants, interviewees, and hires, and the metrics such as time to hire and turnover rates, organizations can gain insights into potential hires, areas of bias, and take targeted action to address them. Whew, I didn't breathe there. Additionally, it's vital to ensure that data collection and analysis are ethical and transparent. Organizations must protect the privacy and confidentiality of the job applicants' data and ensure that the data is used only to improve hiring practices and promote diversity and inclusivity within the different data and privacy legislation frameworks. Organizations can create a more equitable process and foster a more diverse and inclusive workforce by using data to inform targeted changes and implementing policies and practices that promote diversity and inclusivity. Recently named by Fortune as one of the world's top 50 greatest leaders, Peter H. Diamandis is the founder and executive chairman of the X Prize Foundation, which leads the world in designing and operating large-scale incentive competitions. He is also the executive founder of Singularity University, a graduate-level Silicon Valley institution that counsels the world's greatest leaders on exponentially growing technologies. And by judging the date of this quotation, if there's one person that you should be following on the socials, it's him. By the end of the decade, there will be two kinds of companies, those who are fully utilizing AI and those who are out of business. Simple. And he said this in December 2022, just before ChatGPT was released. So, what is the role of AI in mitigating bias? The industrial wave, which spiraled over 250 years, from 1750 to 2000, had many economic cycles. Our current technological innovation wave will follow a different process order. The current density of events fosters social exponentiality and challenges all types of human management, including economic spontaneity, political communication, and ethics in practice. Because humans, organizations, and machines learn differently, exponential automation-powered artificial technological systems will outperform humans in society and the economy. Artificial intelligence has the potential to assist in mitigating bias during talent sourcing and talent acquisition activities, and indeed throughout the hiring process by reducing the impact of unconscious bias, providing more objective evaluation of candidates, and enabling organizations to make data-driven decisions about their hiring processes. Today, right now, we find ourselves operating squarely within the transformation substage of the information technology age. And so, the mechanical and industrial ages are distant memories. Can you believe that? We lived through a significant change in ages. In addition, COVID-19 caused the Great Pivot, and that movement yielded a permanent change in humanity. The time that it takes from one substantial discovery to the following and one significant change to the next can be likened to a tsunami's pace and height, which is coming towards us, and we do not yet know what challenges and changes lie in its wake. We know that it's altering human history and coping dimensions entirely, and the human being's natural curiosity, adaptational ease, and determination will move with these era-shaking changes that is happening around us. In closing, in order to not only survive but prosper in the new age of our time, we must keep up with rapidly expanding technology, and we must do so on a global scale. And to thrive in this rapidly changing, expanding world, we ought to provide everyone with a seat at the table, regardless of whether they think, look, eat, behave, or sin differently to us. Only By fully recognizing this concept, can we, the collective dwellers of the planet Earth, have a more comprehensive grasp of every invention, every strategy, every decision, and every idea that we are all collectively capable of doing. Thank you very much for your time. I think I am ready for some Q&As.